If you're a Nintendo fan right now, you're basically drowning in upcoming games. And honestly, that's not a bad problem to have. Today, we're counting down 15 upcoming games for Switch and Switch 2 you absolutely need to know about. Let's get into it. The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tales. Developed by Team Asano, the same people behind Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default, and it's their first time stepping into real-time action gameplay. You play as Elliot, an adventurer sent to explore mysterious ruins outside the last human kingdom in a world overrun by beast tribes. Your fairy companion Faye travels with you, offering strategic support during combat, and the story takes you across 4 different time periods to uncover a 1,000-year-old mystery. The combat is action-based and fast, but there's genuine depth to how you use abilities. The HD 2D visuals are gorgeous as always from this team, and the world building feels rich. A demo is already out on the Switch 2 eShop, so you can try it before you buy. This is a great starting point for the list. Castlevania is back after a 12-year hiatus, and it's in the hands of Evil Empire, the studio that made Dead Cells. That's a really exciting combination. You play as Rose Belmont, daughter of Trevor, navigating a dark fantasy version of 1499 Paris that's been overrun by monsters. It's a 2D side-scroller in the Metroidvania mold, meaning you explore, backtrack, and unlock new paths as you gain abilities. The iconic Vampire Killer Whip returns, and this time you can swing from environmental points like a trapeze artist, which adds a ton of mobility to the gameplay. There's also an Arcana system, where you seal defeated bosses into tarot cards to gain their powers. It's a meaty, gothic Metroidvania that fans of the classic era will feel right at home in. The Switch version launches slightly after other platforms, but it's coming in 2026. Dragon Quest XII Beyond Dreams. Originally announced in 2021 as Dragon Quest XII The Flames of Fate, the game went through a full development restart and came back with a brand new name and direction to celebrate the series' 40th anniversary in May 2026. Creator Yuji Horii described the story as following a young hero visited by strange dreams, with the question, what lies beyond dreams, driving the narrative forward? The darker tone of the original concept was scrapped in favor of something closer to what a mainline Dragon Quest should feel like. Platforms haven't been officially confirmed yet, but with DQ being a major Nintendo franchise, this is definitely one to watch. No release date is set. This one is still a ways out, but it's officially in active development, and the first footage we've seen looks genuinely promising. Tales of Eternia was one of the most beloved entries in the Tales series when it originally launched on PlayStation back in 2000, and now it's getting a full remaster for modern hardware. The story follows Reed Herschel and his childhood friend Ferran, whose lives are flipped upside down when they meet a mysterious girl who speaks a language nobody understands. What starts as trying to figure out who she is quickly becomes a race to stop the Great Fall, a catastrophic collision between 2 worlds, Inferia and Celestia, that could destroy everything. Combat is real-time and feels responsive, and the remaster adds destination markers, an enemy encounter toggle, and an auto-battle mode for people who want a smoother ride. You can also flip between the remastered visuals and the original look, which is a cool touch for longtime fans. Dragon Quest Monsters, The Withered World. If you've ever wished Pokémon had a little more RPG depth to its monster collecting loop, Dragon Quest Monsters has been doing exactly that for decades. The Withered World stars Bianca and Nira, 2 young women from Dragon Quest V, setting off to find the legendary Leaves of Life to cure their sick fathers. Along the way, you recruit monsters from across the Dragon Quest universe, raise them, and fuse them together through a synthesis system to create new and more powerful creatures. It's the kind of game where building your team is just as satisfying as the battles themselves. There's a huge roster of familiar monsters to collect, and each one can learn a variety of talents you can mix and match to suit your strategy. It arrives December 3rd, making it a strong holiday pick for RPG fans. Star Fox. After nearly a decade of silence, Fox McCloud is back, and it's a full remake of Star Fox 64, built from the ground up for Switch 2. The visuals are completely overhauled, the characters have new designs that lean more animalistic, and there are brand new cinematic cutscenes between missions that flesh out the story more than ever. You fly through the Lilat system, fighting to save it from the villain Andross, picking your own route through planets to create a unique run through the campaign. There are 3 difficulty modes: a challenge mode, where you replay cleared stages with alternate objectives, and a 4 vs 4 online multiplayer battle mode, where you dogfight against other players. Nintendo is also using the Joy-Con 2's mouse controls for optional targeting, which could feel genuinely intuitive in cockpit gameplay. It's out June 25th. If you played Trails in the Sky first chapter last year and were left absolutely gutted by that ending, this is what you've been waiting for. The second chapter is a full remake of the legendary Trails in the Sky SC, which many fans consider the emotional peak of the entire Trails series. The story picks up right where things left off. Estelle is on a desperate hunt to find Joshua after he disappeared, and what starts as a personal journey quickly spirals into a continent-wide conspiracy involving the shadowy organization Ouroboros. The combat is a hybrid system, blending classic Trails turn-based strategy with updated 3D visuals and quality-of-life improvements. The world is rich with lore, and the character writing is some of the best in the genre. If you care about storytelling in your RPGs, this is mandatory. Muramasa Revenant Blades. Vanillaware makes some of the most visually striking games in the industry, and Muramasa is one of their best. Originally released on Wii in 2009, this remaster brings the full package, both the original game and all 4 Genroku Legends DLC chapters to Switch, Switch 2, and, for the first time, PC. Set in a mythical version of Japan's Edo period, you follow 2 separate protagonists, the ninja Kisuke and the possessed princess Momohime, both caught up in a deadly conflict over legendary cursed swords forged by the swordsmith Muramasa. The 2D combat is fast and satisfying, chaining sword strikes together while switching between blades mid-fight. The art style looks hand-painted, and it's genuinely gorgeous even by today's standards. This is the first time the game gets full English voice acting, which is a big deal. Coming early 2027. Rayman Legends Retold is not just a port. Ubisoft has rebuilt the 2013 classic from scratch in 3D using the Snowdrop engine, and the results look stunning. The core gameplay of running, jumping, gliding, and punching through inventive levels is all still there, but now the camera bends and tilts to give stages a totally new dimension. There's a brand new 6th world with a new villain spreading corruption through the Glade of Dreams, plus 4 new musical stages where your moves have to sync to the beat of an expanded soundtrack by Christoph Harral and Grant Kirkhope. Characters are fully voiced for the first time in the franchise. Up to 4 players can play in local co-op, and the beloved Kung Foot minigame returns bigger than ever. The game also ships with Rayman Origins Enhanced Edition included. At $39.99, it's solid value. Splatoon Raiders is the series' first real spin-off, and it takes things in a fresh direction. Instead of competitive multiplayer, this is a single-player focused adventure where you play as a mechanic who teams up with Deep Cut, the trio of musicians from Splatoon 3, to raid the Spiralite Islands and steal treasure from the Salmonids. You customize your character, equip mechanical gadgets alongside traditional ink weapons, and take on waves of enemies while one Deep Cut member accompanies you in a giant exploration bot. The weapon upgrade system adds depth to the progression, and the overall feel is more like an action-adventure than a shooter. A co-op mode supports up to 4 players online or locally, with difficulty scaling based on how many people are playing. It's out July 23rd and priced at a very reasonable $50 digitally. Woohoo Island is back. Nintendo Switch Sports Resort is the spiritual sequel everyone's been asking for since Wii Sports Resort, and it's coming exclusively to Switch 2 with 12 sports across the land, sea, and sky of the iconic floating resort. The lineup includes returning favorites like bowling, tennis, golf, and table tennis, alongside brand new additions like skateboarding, prop plane flying, power cruising, and even thumb wrestling. The Joy-Con 2's gyroscope and mouse controls are front and center here, making each sport feel physical and reactive. Skateboarders use the mouse controls to pull off tricks, pilots tilt the controller to steer, and boxers swing their arms for real. You can play as a Mii or a Sportsmate avatar. This is the kind of game you bust out at a family gathering or a party, and October 22nd makes it a perfect holiday title. The Duskbloods. From Software, the people behind Elden Ring and Dark Souls, made a Nintendo exclusive. Let that sink in. The Duskbloods is a brand new IP set in a dark fantasy world where players take on the role of vampire-like warriors called Bloodsworn, each with unique weapons and abilities. Up to 8 players compete in PvPvE matches, meaning you're fighting other players and environmental enemies at the same time, with alliances forming and breaking on the fly. Director Hidetaka Miyazaki described the world as one where the moon tears will flow for one and one alone, which hints at a last survivor, winner-takes-all kind of tension running through the fiction. No release date is confirmed yet beyond 2026, but a closed network test is coming this summer, so the game is close. This is one of the most talked about Switch 2 exclusives, and for good reason. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis. Lara Croft's very first adventure is getting a full remake, and this time it's Crystal Dynamics running on Unreal Engine 5. Legacy of Atlantis takes the original 1996 Tomb Raider's bones, exploration, deadly traps, puzzle solving, and treacherous environments, and rebuilds them with cinematic scale and modern controls. You're hunting for scattered pieces of the Scion, a powerful artifact tied to the lost civilization of Atlantis, traveling through multiple global locations along the way. The expanded story adds new content while honoring the spirit of where the franchise began. Lara is voiced by Alex Wilton Regan, and the Switch 2 version promises full visual optimization and content parity with other platforms. It was originally targeting 2026, but got pushed to February 12, 2027. Still not far off, and it's shaping up to be one of the best Tomb Raider games in years. Final Fantasy Resonance. Square Enix announced the first ever HD 2D Final Fantasy game during the June 2026 Nintendo Direct, and it looks incredible. Final Fantasy Resonance is based on the story from the mobile game Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, completely rebuilt from scratch as a full console RPG, with no gacha mechanics, no microtransactions, just a proper buy-once experience. You follow Rain, his adoptive brother Laswell, and the mysterious maiden Fina as they try to protect the world's 8 elemental crystals from a group called the Sworn Six of Palladia. The battle system is classic turn-based with a modern twist, and you can summon iconic characters from across Final Fantasy history as visions to fight alongside you. Cloud, Tidus, and the Warrior of Light all show up. The HD 2D visuals blend retro pixel art with dynamic lighting and cinematic camera angles. Out October 22nd at $49.99. Fire Emblem is back, and this is the biggest one on the list. Fortune's Weave is the 18th mainline entry in the series, set in the Dagdan Empire, a world connected to Fire Emblem Three Houses, where 4 heroes compete in the Heroic Games, a massive tournament where victory means having your wish granted by the Divine Sovereign. You play through the stories of all 4 protagonists: Kai, a child trying to free his imprisoned father; Dietrich, a swordsman always chasing a stronger opponent; Theodora, a queen fulfilling her homeland's dream; and Lita, a musician driven by revenge. Between battles, you explore the capital city of Daxion, train at the training grounds, build support bonds, and venture outside the walls for experience. The grid-based tactical combat is expanded with 3D exploration and the permadeath and bond system the series is known for. September 17th, 2026. Don't miss it. Whether you're on Switch or Switch 2, the next year of gaming looks absolutely stacked. Drop a comment below which one are you most hyped for. Subscribe if you want more gaming content, and I'll see you in the next one.